California, hoping to be successful along with Dave Marquez and the NWA Showcase. And that actually meant a lot to me. However, it just turned out that after I got there, they lost their building in Las Vegas, and it just went down the drain from there. So I ended up moving back to Virginia. But there's just a lot of different things in my life. There's not one thing specifically that I would say, meant more than anything else.
Right. Now, so why do you think that the W, or not even why, but what about, you said you've met, I'm sure you've networked, on the indie scene. What about TNA? Do you think it's ever a possibility, because they have a lot of guys that seem to be your style, that you could probably work well with. Do you ever see yourself getting that chance to get in? Have you sent tapes to them or anything?
I don't think no, I haven't even tried. I don't think it's a matter of getting a chance. I honestly think anything that I honestly, truly pursue, I'll get. I was dead set on Ring of Honor for a long time and worked at it, and, I ended up getting a spot and got booked on the second week of TV, but ended up breaking my leg twice in the last freaking 9 months, so it's put a big halt on everything I was doing. But yeah, like a bunch of the workers in TNA are just awesome, but it seems like to me that a lot of the workers that are in TNA, they were bigger as indie names on the indies than they are now in TNA. For some reason, I don't know. It's like nobody says anything good about TNA ever. And obviously, I would take a job if it was offered to me. But if I had to choose between the three, it would be Ring of Honor.
Right. And I saw something on your MySpace that had something about not booked, but Ring of Honor. Are you going? What's up with that?
There were certain shows I was booked on, and certain shows I was trying to get on. Before I broke my leg, I was trying to go everywhere I could that they were at. Just trying to get on. I'm in Virginia. I drove down to Florida just trying to get some pre-show matches. I ended up working both of the pre-show matches in Florida. So I didn't want to mislead anybody or somebody from Ring of Honor look at my calendar and say, why has he got all these dates over here? So I just made sure that I put not booked, that I was just going to try to get on or enjoy the show.
So how does that work? Do you just show up at the show and then they let you backstage and then maybe if they put you on?
When I went over to California, Adam Pearce was the booker for the NWA Showcase, and he was really big on me out there. And I really think if it wasn't for me moving out there, getting over with Adam, that I probably would have a much harder time even doing what I've already done, which hasn't been much. But I think that, my connection with Pearce probably has helped out a little bit. Definitely, because, plus the FIP thing. When I went down to Florida working with Sal and FIP, I think Sal kind of likes me, and as soon as I walk in the door in Florida, Sal was the one that actually got me the pre-show match on the first night.
Right. So, do you buy a ticket, or do you just walk up to security and say, hey?
No, I just walk in. Pretty much everybody knows me, so it's not like I'm a foreign guy walking in the locker room. I'm not one of the boys, but, everybody knows who I am, so it's not a big deal to show up.
Well, if you're traveling, different parts of the country to see them, how do you get past security? Because if I walked up to security and said, hey, I'm one of the guys, you'd laugh at me, minus the fact that I'm only 175 pounds.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've never had a problem with it. I always show up plenty early to any show so that, I'm not dealing with anything after the boys are in the back and the doors are open. I want to get there in enough time for them to see me and be able to make something for me if they don't already have some. I've just never had that problem, man.
Cool. So, you say you don't hang on to much, as a favorite match, but what are your goals? What are you're in the ring, whether it's to please the fans, to wrestle in front of 20,000 people. What drives you to do this week in and week out?
Originally, my original goal, I think the actual driving, it comes from just being such a fan my entire life and having a strong passion for first the entertainment factor and then later on the art form of it, is what just drove me to wrestle, period. And then once I realized that I can actually do something with this, my first goal, and it's still a huge goal of mine, is to go to Japan. I admire the careers of guys like Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero and even Hulk Hogan, guys that went over to Japan, became big stars, worked their asses off, then came over here when they were worth some money. You know, that was the immediate goal. But I'd really like to be a part of a company that starts from the ground up and help it take off, like a lot of the guys did with TNA, a lot of the guys did with Ring of Honor. There's a company in Iowa, I think it's Online Revolution or something like that. I was booked for that, and the guy was talking about running every single weekend and flying everybody in every single weekend and doing all these TV broadcasts and everything, and I was kind of looking forward to that because, you know, it's something fresh, and I'd like to be a part of a boat as it starts to take off. But, like I said, I broke my leg twice.
And we're speaking with Chris Escobar for those just tuning in. He's working the Indy scene. Go ahead, Demetrius.
No, and I was going to say, you mentioned, Chris, you broken your leg twice, so you're still currently recovering from those injuries?
I am, yeah. I broke my leg one time in North Carolina doing an acai moonsault, and I slammed my shin on the guardrail, and it snapped my bone in half. I healed from that, wrestled again for a few months, and then again in freaking North Carolina, I threw a fallaway slam. Now, there's nothing wrong with my leg. My bone healed fine. I threw a fallaway slam, and my freaking leg snapped in half. Just a regular old razor-bone fallaway slam, and my leg, same leg, snapped right in half. That was about 2.5 months ago. I had surgery on it this time, and I'm actually back in the gym. I just started going back to work, and I will be taking bookings again probably July.
Any other injuries?
No. I've been the whole 11 years. I've been extremely lucky. Never had not even a concussion. And I've done a lot of crazy shit that I should probably have died from, but not even a concussion, man. And then this last year, the last 9 months, man, I break my leg twice.
Now, you say you've been free from injury. What about when you're young, 17, 18, or whatever it is, you really got really got started? Did any of the older guys that you're in the ring with try and test you, maybe potato you, or want you to prove your?
I never had to deal with anybody trying to shoot on me. I was being half-ass trained by a guy named Dewey Cheatham, who was being trained at the same time by C.W. Anderson. And a lot of the stuff that C.W. was teaching him, he brought down to me, and a lot of it was chain wrestling and shoot fighting. And the same thing at the Inoki Dojo in California. I spent some time training there, and a lot of that was shoot fighting and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So I think if anybody was to shoot on me, it would be okay. But I've never had that problem, man. I don't know anybody that doesn't like me.
You seem easygoing enough, so I'll buy that. Now, have you had the chance, a lot of these, TNA guys or whatnot, they also work at indie scenes. Have you had a chance to, go one-on-one or in tag matches with any of these guys that we know?
I've worked with the Human Tornado. I've worked with Joey Ryan. I've worked with Rocky Romero, Alex Kozlov, Chris Hamrick. Not so much the TNA guys now. Hold on 1 second. I'm sitting in front of my training school, and
I just noticed. You need to go put air in it.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry about that. What the hell, that completely messed up my train of thought. Not too many of the TNA guys though. I was booked in June. Promoter was going to run me and Damian Wayne versus the Motor City Machine Guns, which I was a super huge mark for because everybody knows why. They're incredible. But that didn't happen either. But I mean, the Ring of Honor stuff, I work with, Albright and Stevens and Bison Smith, but nothing that sticks out as anything special.
Right. Sorry, I thought one of the guys were jumping in. So you're looking to get into the Ring of Honor, but what about, have you heard much about Dragon Gate? I believe that's they're about to do their first show. I think they got Too Cold Scorpio. I can't remember some other big names.
You talking about in Philly?
Yeah.
The Dragon Gate USA?
Right.
If I wasn't trying so hard to build a relationship with Ring of Honor, I marked out. I marked out as soon as I heard about it. I was like, I guarantee you they're going to be incredible shows, but I think that anybody who's trying to get their foot in the door with Ring of Honor is going to burn their bridge by working there.
Right. Okay. Right. I could definitely see that. Now, have you caught any of the shows or seen them on TV or anything, the Ring of Honor on HD?